So today I will present our system Skyline, which is a scientific enterprise platform for management of R&D processes in biotech, pharma, and specifically today I will show the chemical version of the system. So just a little bit about us and what we do at Comply. So at Comply we have, I would say, two lines of business which interact with one another. The first one is in the area of consulting, where we are, let's say, the interface between the IT world and the regulatory domains, basically in life science companies which are under strict regulations, digital health, IT systems implementations in the area of pharmaceutical manufacturing, R&D, etc. And the second part of the company is software that we developed, basically Skyline, which is a scientific platform for managing the whole process of R&D, from the idea, from the project management aspects, all the way to manufacturing. So we cover the complete scope of the R&D process, and I will show this in detail in the next minutes. So a little bit about us. The company has been founded, like we said, by me, 2005. We are close to 80 employees as we speak, and growing. A major milestone in the company's progress was done in 2006, where we partnered with a leading IT service provider in Israel called Nest Technologies, which actually, for us, provided the ability to support large organizations easily, because Nest is also a global company, and we have a very strong partnership with them in many aspects. Our clients are from all the scope of the life science domain. We have customers from biotech, pharma, medical devices, health institutions, and agrochemical. But we're strictly in life science. So just an overview of Skyline. I won't go into every point here, because we will show it. I will show it in detail in the coming slides. Just to say, we go all the way from the idea, from the conception of the drug or the product, which means we want to create a new product. Let's say if we're an agrochemical company, let's say they say, we have this new pesticide that we need to create that will be distributed in Africa, which means it has to be in a powder format and be able to sustain heat, and maybe the storage conditions are not so good, etc. So they define the process, the goal of the project. They need to dig into the history of the R&D. What kind of information do we already have in-house? What do we know? What kind of products do we have that can work there? And try to look into the information. So we need a tool which will allow us to easily retrieve and investigate, first of all, with what we have in-house. And yesterday we heard from Joe about companies redoing experiments because they didn't have access to the information. And I can say that this is something. When I was head of IT for a pharmaceutical company, we had this exact same case where new R&D manager comes in, head of R&D comes in, says, hey, why don't we do this and this? And the guy says, we tried it once before, didn't work. So I said, but show me the material, and they couldn't find it. Everybody remembers that it has been done, but the raw data is gone somewhere. It is somewhere, but they couldn't find it. So being able to dig into the data, to retrieve the information is key. We have to access every piece of information that we have. Then when we start to work, the information flows from the different labs. It could be a multinational organization where some parts of the work are done in different sites. So all these workflows have to run around in between the different labs, and we want to facilitate all of this communication. Okay, then we need these labs. They execute. Okay, we get a task. We have to do some synthesis, some analysis, some I don't know. We have to do it. Okay, so the recording of all the work, the results, the experiments, everything is in the system. Okay. Important to note that the whole development cycle, which took several years, was done very closely with some key design partners in the industry, which is very critical for the success of such a complex environment. Okay, and up to now, they're happy. Okay, so just a couple of case studies. Skyline has been implemented for several years in a large biotech, global biotech company, and a couple of years ago, they decided to do an ROI analysis of the system, and I think this is, at least for me, it's one of the first times where I saw a company doing a retrospective ROI. Usually they do the ROI before they buy the system, and of course it will save them millions, and like every system they show in, they justify the purchase. But here they did it after, which was very interesting, and it was done very seriously. And just in terms of the statistics, you see the numbers. The important part here is that all of the development process is covered by the system. Everything is inside. One of the goals was not to have any Excels, okay, 0 Excels. We want everything in the system. So if there is any Excel still existing, it means that we missed our target, okay? And then we said, okay, let's see what is the ROI, or they said, let's see what is the ROI. And actually there were 2 achievements, one in terms of operational excellence and saving of direct money of work, which was a few $100,000 a year, which is not, let's say, a justification for such a system. But the real value was that they were able to deliver a validated protocol to production, okay, in less than, in 2.4 months less than it usually takes them. Okay, and this is, of course, a huge benefit, which is very difficult to put a number on it. The next case study is in agrochemical company, again, one of the largest in the world in terms of agriculture. They have they have R&D sites in South America, Europe, Israel, India, China. Okay, so really spread all over. And here, in this case, the system is young. Okay, we still don't have, we didn't do any kind of retrospective analysis because it's not enough time to do that. But the scope of data which we're covering every year is around 100 projects, okay, R&D projects, and you can see the numbers. And of course, one of the things that we're very proud of is the number of calculations, which means that everything is in the system. Okay, this is, like I said, one of the most important goals is to have everything in one place. Okay, so in Skyline we have, I would say, several modules, just to say that it is not a modular system in the respect where you can say, okay, we don't want, I don't know, notifications. Okay, maybe that's a bad example, but basically it's a complete system, integrated system, okay, with all the components talking to one another, and when we go live with everything, the whole band singing. Okay. This is part of the data model. I try to simplify it as much as possible, but let's say we have a project, sub-project, it goes deeper. Okay, we have other layers inside which I skipped. Then we have the actual experiments. In the experiments, we have a whole list of, okay, what you do inside the experiment. So we have hierarchy of tasks which are based on the projects, and their projects are also interconnected, okay? And then we have cross-functional data, which are the requests, samples, inventory. Okay, there are others like the employees, equipment. Okay, we have documentation. We have all kinds of data which is shared among all of these, let's say, operational layers. So if we look at the different labs that we have, okay, this is a representation of the different labs. So we have, let's say, organic synthesis lab or another synthetic lab. We have then analytical labs, formulation, parametric, and then, let's say, pilot production. The key, let's say, element which moves the information between the different units is the request. Okay, and I will show it to you later. We have requests which create the different, they trigger the operations between, and the communication is like the email between the different labs. Of course, tasks which are created and seen, and then we have the shared data around, you know, all the samples, inventory, equipment, and the people, and this allows for all kinds of optimizations. We want to make sure that people, that the staff cannot use, let's say, dangerous materials if they have not been trained. If equipment is out of calibration, it cannot be used. Okay, so we take care of all of this in the system, all these circles around. I'll do this quickly, but just to show a simplified workflow. So we have a new project. Let's say we create a new project. We create from it an organic experiment. The experiment creates an inventory, okay, because we create some material. So automatically by the experiment, material is introduced into inventory, samples are created. We want to analyze this sample, so we create a request, and the samples move to an analytical lab. They get the request by all kinds of places. I will show you how they see and know that they have work to be done. They execute. The request could create an experiment. Okay, so we can say maybe we don't know how to analyze this. Okay, it's a new material, we don't know how to analyze it. So we create a new project for us. How do we test this material? Okay, so it opens a whole new tree. And once they finalize it and they have a result, it automatically updates the request, updates the experiment, and you know the circle is closed. Okay, this is just not to scare you. This is just one workflow as an example, and to say here the message is not to go into the workflow, but the message is that there are very complex business rules when you look at such a work process. Okay, very, very complex business rules. What is allowed, what's not allowed, what happens if you select any kind of information, any kind of field, any kind of experiment, what is the lab, which is the site, what is the product. Okay, if this checkbox is selected, if not. So there are a lot of business rules, and they're built into the system, very flexible, very easy to change and to manipulate. And the idea is to protect the organization from mistakes, okay, and to streamline the work, and basically it makes their life easier because they know that the system takes care of them, okay, covers their back in a way. A key point, a key area is information security. You know, people here, a lot of you come from R&D organizations. We all know that this is one of the most highly guarded areas. So we had to embed a lot of security into Skyline, and the system has to understand what is the organizational structure, what are the roles of the people, who participates in which project, what they can do, what they cannot do. okay, and what they can see and what they cannot see, what they can change and not to change. So all of this is in Skyline, and we can go down to the level of the individual field in each screen. Okay, it's very easy to configure, a lot of configuration, but the flexibility is built in. A little bit about ChemAxon, which we're very, very happy that we selected these set of tools to be part of Skyline. And this has been done after, I want to say, a long research process. But I think that in the end of the day, I'm very, very happy that this is the tools have been selected. And of course, we do all the, the chemical drawing and the basic work of the chemist is done using ChemAxon tools. And together with ChemAxon, we're working on expanding these functionality, interfacing to and searching external databases, commercial databases, which our clients have subscriptions to, and implementation of new tools, deeper working of the scientists at the bench. Okay, so user interface, I'm going to run quickly because I see I'm a little bit slow. Skyline is web-based, okay, so easy, no installations, thin client, pure HTML on the client side, everything is done server-side. Then we will see we have dynamic dashboards, which means that each user can build his own dashboard with whatever he wants to see, okay, and work. We push information, okay, the idea of user-friendly is also to push. So if there is something I have to do, I go in the morning, open the system, I want to know it. Okay, it has to push things to me. We added components that allow us to do advanced calculations and eliminate as much as possible Excel templates and manual work. So we embedded in the system both a spreadsheet component and the chemical editor components. Okay, and of course we can customize easily as we want. Okay, QA a little bit very quickly, but we comply with all the regulations, at least of the pharma world, because we came from the pharma world, so for us it's very natural that everything is validated, full traceability, all the documentation. We have a room full of or not a room, but hard disk full of everything is well documented, Part 11 compliant, electronic signatures, etc. Okay, so let's show some screens. So this is the main entry, the landing page of the system. What we see here, just quickly, is, okay, we have the tree of the projects. I see what I'm allowed to see. Okay, if I'm not allowed to see something, it will not show. Okay, and here we can create all kinds of tables of data based on our preferences. Here I selected a project, but we can put here requests, and we can change the order, whatever. I can see whatever I want, my tasks, my samples, I don't know, whatever I want to. I can customize in each table which fields I want to see, the order of these fields, the size. Okay, so it's each user customizes it as they want. Okay. Other things, okay, also in the title, I will see things which I'm allowed to see. If I get some messages, we'll have a number here saying how many messages, and a message could be, you have a new request to do this and this, okay, or something has expired, or you are overdue. Okay, we can create a lot of notifications, whatever you can imagine, and it's pushed on schedule to the user. You can say, okay, we want to once a month, send me a list of all the samples that would expire next week. Okay, so any kind of notification. Okay, and here we can select the menu of whatever kind of information is relevant to this to the data that we're looking at. Okay. The project screen, just to show you what kind of information we hold for the project. So we look at general information about the project. Suppliers, okay, want to know who we're working with, what kind of materials we're going to use, which suppliers have been approved, or we want to work with them. IP, all kinds of literature that we want to keep, reports, the registrations, marketing material, who are the people who are going to work on it. Okay, so based on the people who we assign to the project, they will get the permissions. Okay, this is a sub-project, and from the sub-project we select create new experiment, and we get an experiment page where we can select, we put in the information, and we select which lab will do it, what is the protocol. Based on the protocol, they will know what to do and how to do it. And here, just to say that once let's say we finish an experiment, we fine-tune it, we can save it as a new protocol. Okay, so we work on it and we say, okay, this is the best way to do something. Let's create a protocol, and the protocols are version managed. Okay, so out of the work we get the protocols, and basically the idea is that once we finish and we did the whole definition of how to make this molecule or this product, it goes, we close it, and it goes to pilot production, and there they do their own experiments and improve the process of manufacturing in order to bring it to large-scale manufacturing. Okay, so I will try to run, go quickly. This is showing different steps, reactions. We know with all kinds of information about the reactants. We are creating here, we're creating here a request to go to the analytical lab, and we have an essay that we want to do. We can do all kinds of information, and once we go into the main screen, we will see under the requests, I will see all the requests that are waiting for me. I can open the request, see what I have to do. Okay, go inside, see the processes. I see, okay, I have to calculate yield. I enter the yield. You can have all kinds of many steps in here and enter the information. And once the lab that received it has finished their work and entered the result, automatically the father experiment will get updated with the correct results that have been performed. Okay, inventory. So we have types of materials, we have equipment, we have different types of inventory. Each type of inventory has different data associated with it, if it is columns, if it is filters, if it is raw materials, if it is intermediate materials, okay, different kind of information. So here we see all the batches that we have for this material. We see all the batches and the information about them. We can go into them. And just to use this screen as an example of having context-based filters and buttons. So when we're in a specific area in the system, we get, let's say here we have the filters. So the filters are relevant to what we want to see. Okay, so show me items in use, only recent items, internal batches. Okay, we can create, and we can, based on what the customer wants, we can create more and more of these. And once we go into the actual inventory item, we have a lot of information about it. Okay, general descriptions, MSDSs, the batches that are relevant to it, training, what kind of some materials need employees to be trained on. Okay, maybe they're dangerous. Okay, so like I said before, if you haven't been trained, you cannot use it. Okay, I'm good on time, great. So just to summarize, so Skyline is an end-to-end platform to cover the complete cycle, okay, of R&D. I hope it's user-friendly. We did our best using also experts, UI, UX experts, and a lot of working with the users to make things easy for them. We implement complex business rules, still, I hope, in a user-friendly way, okay? Highly integrated, like you saw before. Everything is connected, everything works with one another, the labs, the inventories, samples, everything is interconnected. And of course, secure, which is basic, but it's not easy to reach. And the outcome is first operational excellence. Okay, we work in a system, not Excels, not paper. Both of these customers that I showed you before are 100%, well, not 100, but close to paperless. Okay, everything is in the system. And of course, the reduced time to market at the end of the day. Okay, that's it for me.